What up? What up, yo? So, um, man, the real flex is getting your kids to bed right before 10 o'clock. That's a real flex. Um, Being a single father is really humiliating. You know what I mean? And I say that out of realness because we gotta heal. It should not feel humiliating. Um, but you know, when you are doing it alone, you could be in a relationship and still be a single parent, right? Because with how they say it takes a village, that comes from during before pre-Columbus, the American Indians were living, and I just speak for the American Indians because I am one, all the way 100,000% to the fullest, on both my matriarchal and my patriarchal side, and their patriarchal and matriarchal side. Um, I do have German in my blood on my dad's side, and on my mom's side I got Irish. But majority of my cosmic makeup is comes from this part of the planet, this part of the landmass. But when we and I'm also I don't like to brag about my titles, but I think it's very important. But I also sit on the Happy Hill Neighborhood Association board, and that's something that I'm really proud. Um, like that's like an accomplishment, big accomplishment for me. Um, I was on the 25th of February would make a year since I've been serving on that board, and it has exposed me to a lot. Like, um, but at the same time, it's an honor for me because I've been doing work in Happy Hill for a very long time. Um, Even when I didn't realize I was doing work, that's how you know it was genuine. You know, I was really just led by the creeks, and so Salam Creek, which passes through there, is where prehistorically our people had villages there. So before the neighborhood, the modern neighborhood that we got, you think about, you know, um, the culture of that time period. Our people were actually extravagant people. We did a lot of notable shit, and that comes from us sticking together as a tribe. You feel me? And that's what we see in what we see now in our culture is that we are separatists, meaning that we we break off from our family and we in positions like how I'm in now. You single fathers. Like when I say single fathers, I mean you single like is no support. You can if you have support of the village, and the village don't necessarily. This is what we have to understand moving forward. Our village does not necessarily have to be your brother, sister, etc. You see what stuff was happening with Glorilla. Um, you know, it's we first of all we cannot the honorable Al Haj Malik Al Shabazz, who we know commonly as Malcolm X, said that we shouldn't fight our battles on public platforms, but they should be done privately, right? All of the disputes should be held private. And again, this is where we come from. So like in historic, what you call Happy Hill, which was corp, which was commercialized once it became a corporation, as Happy Hill before it was called Liberia. When it was unincorporated, it was unincorporated. It was called Liberia. In fact, it was called Liberia. Well, you had two Liberia. You had one in just north of Durham, and then the one here in Happy Hill, which was a village. Okay, um, an indigenous Aboriginal village, and that this is the work that got me on the board, because that's my main initiative, is to work directly with the people. And it's interesting working at Happy Hill because that's the breadbasket of the city. So I'm representing people who I know, like, you know what I mean, mothers who's knows my fam, like, it's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what I challenge the people of the the triad to do, is to trace your lineage back to Happy Hill, because they just uncovered 100, over 1,000 graves, and we have a historical marker that just released last year. I actually spoke at it, the unveiling, and it's right there at the top of Willow Street in Happy Hill, and it talks about the real history, about how that the highway literally cut through that village. And when I was there, I spoke with a brother who lived in Happy Hill before the highway 52 cut through there. He said it was an old church that was there, and like in the middle of where the highway would be now. This is what, you know, this is the energy of what split our people up. And again, we were a village, and we had tight villages. And like I said, your village may not necessarily be your family. It may not be the people that, you know, your sisters, your brothers, your aunts, your uncle. It may not be them. That's who you always check back in with. But your village may be made up of a whole group of, like with Moses, when he went to the Midianites. So Glorilla, like Moses. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of people are bashing Yo Gotti. He one of us. You feel what I'm saying? Yo Gotti is one of us. He's going to be recorded in the history books, and how he is creating a nationhood. He's restoring a nationhood, and Louisville is a part of that. And Memphis is the old capital. That's the old Kushite capital, is Memphis, right? So it's just like DC. Like, he got troops from Florida to Dallas to Louisville. You know what I'm saying? CMG to Detroit. And it's bigger than rap. So that's respect. And like, I feel like what need to happen is we need to really heal from what happened with Dolph. You feel what I mean? We need to really heal from that and realize that, like, bro, we all the same people. Like, it's still beefs that's going on because of what happened with Gotti and Dolph. And if you go watch the T.I. and Cam Newton interview, that was a really good interview. And when you hear what T.I. said about uh, Shawty Low and how they was in the same room and it was two sets of people fighting on their behalf, and they in the same room. So I really feel like, and again, this goes back to Parliament. When you look at the word Parliament, Parliament comes from the word parlay, and parlay just means to have conversation and dialogue, right? And so the old Parliament was doing the community works in modern time, right? They were hearing the cries of the people and then bringing it back to the boards or the councils and having conversation locally in house. And before you get to the local government, you had to go to Big Mama. You had to go to Big Mama first, and it was a Big Mama in every hood. You know what I'm saying? We called her on the north side Miss Robin. And this big Miss Robin door always open. It's always open. And she in every hood. You can't tell me you from the hood and you don't check in with your big mama. And Big Mama not gonna judge you. She not gonna judge you. She like, you could be going through the worst. You could have caught 10 charges, just got out on bail, and she gonna look at you like you her son and he was just born yesterday. And she gonna be like, look in that refrigerator. There should be some Capri Suns in there if you want an extra one. You feel me? And so we got to get back to those principles. You feel me? And so, like, even with that, I see they just sentenced that young boy that they said killed that highwayman at the Sheets in Greensboro in 2023. And you see the comments, and the first thing these Europeans they putting on there is death. And I'm like, death? You feel me? I'm like, death? How you wishing death on my people? You know what I mean? And like, that's a boy. He 20 years old. Long live the King John. No, Lil John. King John's son, young slave, man. Man, for real. Like, I'm like, bro, first of all, I got a son and I was just 27 4 years ago. You feel me? So my heart go out to him, man. And so, like, if everybody just practice, like, research, practice studying. If you practice studying, start here. It's volume 2, but start at volume 1. You see, they got look at the details on it. This was written by a European, and I had conversations with Europeans, and they don't even know about this book. And they the smartest of the scholars. They swear they know everything, but they never read this book, and this was written by a European in the 1800s, like 1892. I'm thinking more is in Spain. But that was also written by a European. You feel me? But yeah, study. If you study your history, see, we knights in armor. Them the Moors. You feel me? Them the Moors, the Moors, and we was everywhere, in every village, across the land, across the country, across the continents. You feel me? We all the same people. And they getting us mixed up, and like they are telling us our history, like with the PBS documentary I ain't really like that because it's like I'm telling you about your history. How do you feel about it? I'm like, if they did that with me and set me down, they would have to go past 1400 for me to be like, wow. Because if they tell me anything modern, majority of it I've already did the legwork. So I'm like, oh yeah, we already knew that. Did you know? Did you know? This book heavy. Did you know how heavy these books is? I got these from Atlanta. At the Greenbrier Mall in Atlanta. Feel me? You got. If you ever been to Greenbrier Mall, you gonna understand why Gucci was like just another day in the East Atlanta 6. Just a young nigga in the hood selling books. That's how I got put on to what's the brand? Millie Merch in Greenbrier Mall. They came up like this is literally an untold story. So I went into Greenbrier Mall. Okay, I'm gonna give you the whole joint because of this book. It was because of this book, but I was reading, so it tied back to January of 2022. I'm riding back from Indianapolis through Louisville, right? And I'm listening to Ali Muhammad, and he brought up the book Tecumseh and the Prophet. I'm like, all right, word, let me get this joint. So I'm like, it's a day after my birthday, 1/27, 2022. I'm like, yo, let me go get this book from Barnes and Noble in Louisville, and I got it. Is that it right there? No, that ain't it. It's around here somewhere. But Tecumseh and the Prophet, where I get it, and it talks about Louisville. I'm geek. It talk about Louisville and it talk about Chattanooga. Now my people have been in Louisville since before Louisville was Louisville. Type shit. They've been there. We call them the Bourbon. That's who you call the Bourbons and the Francs. That's why you got Frankfort, because we was guarding, you know what I'm saying, the estates at the Frankfort. That's on the Kentucky River. In there. Beautiful. Beautiful country. But you know, that's what anyway. So I'm riding back listening to that. You know what I mean? It's a spiritual journey I'm on, by the way. So I'm riding what's that, 65? But then we get to Louisville and we go to Barnes and Noble. I get the joint. It's right there. Boom. It's my birthday present for myself. Reading that joint, it talk about Chattanooga, which I was living in Chattanooga at the time. You feel what I'm saying? I moved to Chattanooga to be close to my kinfolk in Kentucky. And then I got an exile. I got exiled like the Prophet Muhammad. This is why they call me Muhammad, because I took the flight from Mecca. You feel what I'm saying? And then Mecca being like, literally they got Mecca, Tennessee. Bro, I seen some shit that will blow. It will blow your mind what I saw in Tennessee. They got, where's wonderful, man? They got rows of pyramids. Like, I mean, rows of them, like rows of them. And it's say Mecca, but anyway, I could tell you some stories, but I'm trying to stay focused on this one story. But these is like these the exits. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the rest areas. You know what I'm saying? The pit stops. But because it's like I said, it's a spiritual journey. So I'm reading this book, I'm studying it. I'm like, bro, this is crazy. It's talking about Tecumseh, and talk about Dragon Canoe, and how here I was sitting right here live with y'all reading the Moravians amongst the Cherokee, and it talked about Altakula and how he was the father of Dragon Canoe. Now, that was
this was recent. This video that I was reading that I discovered about Alta Kula Kula, you know, Dragon Canoe father, but I had already been reading about his son in this book, and from 432 to drop. And I was gonna say, Isis Wisdom put me on the 432 to drop in 2020, right before I moved to Chattanooga, right? And then I'm listening to 432 to drop radio after I was solidified to move to Chattanooga. Now, how I moved to Chattanooga was because we was doing wheel routes through Chattanooga. You feel me? Back in 2020. But before we was doing the wheel routes, I got on the mega bus from Atlanta to Louisville. Come on, bro. And with my brother in 2019. So that trip was significant for 1975. We was doing the groundworks. You feel me? In Smoketown. Dog. That's crazy. Bro, that's crazy. In Smoketown. But anyway, so I'm trying to figure out, okay, so like just to wrap all this story up, we reading I got that book at one of the lowest moments in my life. I'm gonna be honest with you. At that time period, I was in Indianapolis. We went to watch the Hornets play the Pacers, and this is the most points that they scored ever in NBA history. It was on my birthday. Look it up. They scored 170 some odd points, 178 points. LaMelo Ball was going crazy, just went crazy, bro. Like, I'm like, bro, stupid. He was going stupid. My son witnessed it on my birthday. So then, you know, after that, and then they mommy told me that she might be pregnant on that day, and on my birthday. And then 9 months later, 9 months later, my daughter come. Crazy, right? There can be miracles when you achieve, though hope is frail, it's hard to heal. Bruh, they should do the Prince of Egypt over again, and this, and instead of it being hybrid Europeans that's speaking on their behalf, let me speak as Moses, as the cartoon. Man, and I get to pick who Sephora and what was Yusuf's wife's name? I get to pick who she could be. Oh man. Oh, let it be Sierra. Let me stop. So I just cut that part. No, don't cut, man. Sierra looks so amazing. She looks like her. She look like her. Yeah. Man, let me stop. Look, I'm just being honest. Shout out to Russ, man. Shout out to Future, bro. Shout out to Future, bro. But anyway, Back to the Future. So, bro, I'm reading that, and in that book, it literally read that the American Indians was getting their ammo and their gun supply from Great Britain. Now, I had already knew about this book. I've seen it before. I've heard people talk about it. I've seen it in the bookstores. You feel me? But I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I was like, it wasn't like, I got to get this book. But once I read about it and I heard Britain, and I'm like, they was tied with the Indians. And I'm like, that makes sense because these Negroes, literally Negroes, declared independence from the crown. How you gonna declare independence from your crown? You declare independence. So They declared independence from the crown, then they went to war. That's literally what this was all about. And so they was going to war with Great Britain, but at the same time, there was people like Tecumseh who was also coming at them. So now, before we used to fight with arrowheads, but now Britain was like, hey, because they had been, bro, the guns ain't nothing new. They had guns in Bohemia in the 12th century. In the 12th, 13th, and 14th century, they had, that was nothing new during the Hussite Wars. So, but with the American Indians, we still was old school with it. Wild, Wild West style, nigga. Bow and arrow, do you feel me? So that's how Tecumseh, that was where they came in. And then so Great Britain was like, hey, what it say? It says, an enemy of my enemy is my friend. So that was what that was. I mean, that's just the logic, bro. So I'm like, man, I gotta go get ancient and modern Brits because this may be an ancient connection here. So, and my theory was this come from the philosophies of Hakim Bey. See, I was studying Hakim Bey on the road. You feel what I'm saying? In the mountains in Pennsylvania, I'm studying Hakim Bey. You feel me? Up in the highest parts of New York, on the Black River. Look up the Black River. I was there in the cold, right? Listening to Hakim Bey, bro. And he talking about how in Virginia, I'm in Virginia. And he was like, Virginia was St. Albion. You feel me? And then he was breaking that history down. I'm listening. It's like he was talking directly to me, bro. You feel me? Because I'm in Virginia. I'm like, bro, my family from Virginia. You feel me? And he's like, that this was the original Britain. This was the original England. So I'm like, oh, so was this the ancient Britain and then a modern one is over there? You feel me? Is that why the British was giving the guns to their own people? And then this book so like it was a treat because I was literally in the Cherokee Forest, right? In what y'all call Tennessee, but it's really Tanasi. It's Tanasi, right? So I was in the Cherokee Forest in Tanasi, which was just a territory in Carolina for the tribes that went over the hills. We was just we had to remind them where they came from. We went over the hills and we went down the river, the Hiwassee River. Man, I lived this, okay? So anyway, that was original Carolina territory. And we were the tribes that was over there. So I'm reading about all this. And then I was like, I'm going to call. Because I heard of the Madu bookstore. I think Waka Flocka shouted it out. Yeah, Waka Flocka shouted out the Madu bookstore. In fact, that's how I knew about it. So I was like, that was the closest ethnic bookstore that was in my radius, right? And so from where I was at, it was 2 hours and 27 minutes from where I was at. Now my mom transitioned on 227, and that's the old joint. And the sister that's from 227, she actually from the Trey Folk. I can't think of her name, but the red bone that's in there that played in Sister. 227, I can't think of her name, but she from the Trey Folk. Look it up. But anyway, it was 227 from where I was at, and I was in the 336. Not area code, but zip code. I was in the 336. The 336. Man. And I had to go through the 322 to get to Atlanta. Like Dirk say, 2 hours from Atlanta. Boy, we lived this while my daughter was baking. So we went and bro. I literally I went in there for these 2 books, but I walked out of there, bro, with like it was like $300 worth of books I spent up in Madu, and and then I deposited my book. I was like, I went back to the car, got my book, and deposited it there for them to review. They had to actually read. They can't just be like, okay, you could just be anybody. Like, hey, here's my book, and can we get it on the shelf? And man, no, that's Atlanta, Joe, South Atlanta. You feel me? That's South Atlanta, Greenbrier Mall. Like you gotta go. You know what I mean? You gotta go through the Grand Council, and this is what I was telling you about at the beginning of this video. This is how we operated and always operated. So, the motherboard, the wisest lady, as the sister told me, the wisest council read the alarm clock, and they said that they reached back out to me, maybe like 4 months later. And after I got the book, like I'm already like I'm talking like my head in. I forgot I even did it. I'm like head in the books. I'm reading their books. Wonderful Ethiopians. I got my son Mansa Musa. We read that. The Restorer of Judah, Haile Selassie. We read that. Me and my son from that collection. I read to him Wonderful Ethiopians. I read that once to myself, and then again to my children. This one, I got book 2. I think this one, it says receive. This came from Chicago. This came from the Underground bookstore up in Chicago, right? But I found out about this book at the Madu bookstore. If you look at my book signing from there, you're gonna see that the sister told me about book 2, because I had already read book 1, Wonderful Ethiopian. So this is book 2, and it's gonna give you the drop on Drusilia Dungeon Houston. And Drusilia Dungeon Houston published Wonderful Ethiopians 100 years ago in 1926, and tomorrow is gonna mark the 100-year anniversary of Negro History Week. It was started on February 7th, 1926. You know, so this is real. This is why we doing these breakdowns, right? And so the village culture and the triad and the trefo is ancient, and we got away from it when we started incorporating democracies. You feel what I'm saying? So, like, I be talking shit to the representative, the politicians on Facebook. I do, because I'm like, why y'all not telling us this? Right now, I'm on there talking about how it say in Article 17 of the North Carolina Constitution that slavery was abolished, right? It say it's prohibited. That's what it say. It say it's prohibited. So if it was prohibited, who is Peter Oliver, and why is they labeling him as a slave when he came here? But he was really just a potter. And why are they saying that the Moravians were the experts at the pottery when we got records of us American Indians participating and engaging in pottery ages ago? We got records and facts of that in that territory. And so when I had a conversation with the wife of an archaeologist, she said that they bypassed what do they call it? When you find the artifacts, the potteries that predate the Moravian time, and they preserve the pottery that they find from the Moravian excavations. I mean, from 1753 on up is the ones that they preserve. But the ancient artifacts, they disregarded. And so, what if the modern artifacts is the ancient artifacts? Ooh, do you hear what the word that I'm telling you? The art of facts. Hey, man. Give me my credit after I'm gone. I don't care. You don't have to give me my credit now while I'm live, while I'm here. That's fine. Give it to me after I'm gone, though. Give it to me after I'm gone. Right? And, like, that's the artifacts. Man. So, ain't that crazy? The parallel from me listening to the master teachers and then me acting on the knowledge, getting to Tecumseh and the prophet, then that literally reading that sentence is what was like. I remember it was early in the morning, and that was one of the most healthiest times of my life, right? Because I was in a indigenous forest with the mother of my children for the second go around, and we were the only ones there. And it was early in the morning. I'm reading Tecumseh and the Prophet, drinking coffee with the deer. Like, I mean, bro, like literally, we live amongst the deer. I was trying to really connect with them while I was out there and let them know that we good. You know what I'm saying? Like, we not trying to hunt you. Like, they had a village, and this is how it's been. You feel me? We used to ride the deer. You feel me? But we done, again, once this gun culture, so that was the downfall too, right? The downfall was, the gun culture. Once we got the guns, we started pointing the trigger towards, and then you got niggas of gods. From niggas, why do niggas be killing niggas? That's why. You feel me? And now I'm calling for a standoff across the land. I'm calling for a standoff across the land. This is a standoff. I'm calling for a standoff because you want your opponent to know the history too. You want them to know the history. You feel me? You need to outsmart them with your mind, right? Not metal, but your mind. You feel me? The metal is material, but the mind, son, that mind, that is the most profound thing you got. That's the mind. You see how the star's shining? That's really a C for Carolina. And that's our star. You feel me? There's so much I could show y'all, but you just gotta, my word is as heavy as my bond, right? So I'm not just out here rattling out the side of my mouth. I'm giving the artifacts. I am an artifact. Yesterday, the young lady, she said to me, she said, she was looking at me in awe. And she was like, this is a sister, right? She said, where you from? I'm like, the Trefo. You know what I'm saying? North Carolina, Norte. She said, you look Ethiopian. I know you get that a lot. I was like, I actually do. I get it all. I'm like, I started naming the countries that I like. Trinidad, from the Trini. They tell me, like, they ask me, are you from our country? The Sudanese. They asked me if I speak Arabic, because I greeted them in Arabic. Salam Lake. That's Salem Lake. You feel me? I'm like, nah. They was like, you from Sudan? I said, nah, I'm from Salam Lake. Shalimar. Long live the niece. That's what I'm telling you. So it was always a Denise, and a Miss Denise was in every community, and she looked after the babies. That was a title. You feel me? Denise and Barbara. I was reading about the ancient tribes of Barbara and wonderful Ethiopians, all because I wanted this book, but because I was obedient. Slim. I'm telling you, I even got my dad a copy because I got him a copy because it was right before his birthday. This joint heavy, bro. My word is as heavy as my bond. Ooh, bro, this shit heavy. This shit heavy, bro. Like, for real, you could work out with this shit. Book of Rhymes on me, nigga. I got books tatted. I got my books tatted on me, son. It's my books. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's the alarm clock. Alarm clock, where they at? Make sure y'all go get that. Make sure y'all go get that. Alarm clock. Moving in silence. It's signed by me on my birthday. This is my copy. This is my copy. See, I'll show you my copy. My son got it. My son scribed it. He put that there. So this is my copy. My 2026 copy. He's printed in 2026. This was on the 22nd. This one was. So yeah, it say Ibn the Realist. Certified. You know what I mean? That's our stamp. Signature stamp. Time stamp. So the rest of them, they time stamp. These are time stamp, and it got the price of gold. See, this is the 1051 time stamp. The price of gold was at 50.77 at that time on my birthday. So yeah, customs send it out as soon as the order come in. They can go just like that. It's gonna be worth a lot. I would say get it for your kids. Get it for your kids to sit in a library. Like this book is one passed down to 1, 2, 3, 4 generations. My son, his mother, his mama, and her mama. No, my son, his mama, her mama, and her mama. So that's 4 generations that's passed down through. So get the books for your kids. Let that be the first book in their library. You know what I mean? If your kids are older, let that be the first book in their library, and then grow their library. That's the most gangsterest thing you can do for a kid, is like build them a library, like just books to fall back on. Like they don't have to go. I mean, I did the work to get this joint, but that's how they gonna be. They gonna be like, we already got that in the library, so we need to be advanced. We need to get some more books. We need to get our hands on some more. You feel me? And then let them have competitions in the house. Who got the most books? So if you got multiple kids, you need to be getting multiple copies of the alarm clock for each kid, and Book of Rhymes. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are, just imagine if we got that joint signed by him. Imagine that joint would be worth way more than what this copy is worth. You feel me? That joint would be worth way more than what this copy is worth. Because it got the signature. It got his signature. Like, that's solid. He signed it. He signed it. You feel me? And then if at a time so like with time in itself appreciates. Time appreciates with time. You feel me? So like January 26th at 10:51 timestamp. And I did it live. It's crazy. So when that, just think about that, years from now, what that book would be worth. That's why I'm like, just give me my credit after I'm gone, not while I'm here. I don't want the awards. You keep it. Give it to charity. Give it to charity. Always had a thing for charity. She went ghost on a nigga. Let's see for charity. Charity. Give it to charity. We gave it to charity. We good. Charity got it. Charity got the gold. Man, let me stop. You got to have an astute. You have to have an astute sense of humor to get my jokes. Like, you have to have an astute, like very astute, and you have to be very an astute comedic in order to make me laugh. Like my daughter, the way my daughter is, she not even trying to be funny, but that girl funny. I'm like, what's your mama name? She named Kiana. Oh my God. I'm like, she named Kara. Oh man. Bro. Like, bro, I take life so serious, but you gotta be real dry, like Tanqueray dry, in order to get my jokes. That joint would go over. Like, I put a joke on Facebook. I was like, everybody that ain't posting the ChatGPT cartoons ain't got jobs. And I was like, boy, the whole joke was, I'm the nigga that ain't got the job, so I can't put the ChatGPT on the shit because I ain't got the job. But a lot of people took offense to that. They was like, or they just ain't full. And I'm like, bro, it was just a joke. Man, they took that shit serious, bro. I'm like, man, you gotta laugh at my sense of humor is dry. It's very dry. That's like my Umi, man. God rest her soul. She got me. She got me. She was like, I swear to God. Like, these were in her dying days, right? And it shouldn't be funny, but it was in her dying days, and she was like, you just the nigga I needed to talk to. She was like, everybody always so depressing, like they asking me, oh, I hope you're gonna be okay, and how you doing, you need anything? And she was like, nigga, I just need a laugh. Oh my God. And she was like, you she was like, just you. Oh, because the reason she said that is because I'm always the one. She was like, you just so awkward. Oh, and that shit is so funny. Oh. Oh my God. She was like, pretty much you in place, but you out of place. Oh my God. Long live Marty. Oh my God. And I'm like, damn. Oh, it's just, see, I'm telling you, I come from the sisters that took me under their wing after my mama died. Like, oh my God, I need something to drink. The sisters, these is what you call het haru. They were the ones, like, oh man, oh man, like Maria. You feel me? The Ave Maria. You know that's who took me under their wings after my mama died, and you know we said this. Matter of fact, this looked like my tie. You feel me? That looked like Ty Marie. And so, man, I talked to her at my lowest. So, like, literally, what's so amazing about how that all looped in together is when I went to Indianapolis for my birthday, I ain't had no phone. My phone was fucked up. I couldn't cut it on. It was fucked up. Like, so from like the beginning of the year to my birthday, I didn't have a phone. I was literally operating off of Wi-Fi, like a Wi-Fi phone. You feel me? And that's how I was still making money. I was like literally homeless, bro, but I was still making money. Stacking 1,000 a week. You know, I'm homeless, bro. You feel me? So anybody that's homeless, anybody that's living out of a car, anybody that's living out the back of a church, anybody that's living out of a studio, I'm with you. I've been there. And for the people that hasn't been there, don't you be no big-eyed little you. Don't you point down on somebody because they ain't got, because what you got can be taken away from you tomorrow. You feel me? And you wouldn't know what to do on a cold night when you don't know where to go. You ain't got no hot water. You ain't got no shower. How you gonna bathe without no shower? You feel me? Still, you feel me? Cooking out the hot plate. Cutting the hot plate on just so it can stay warm. You feel me? But anyway, my Ty called me. Like, we had just got back from Indianapolis. And I was like, she the only one that know what I was going through at that time because she called and talked to me. You see, people don't know what I'm going through because they don't call me. And if they call me, majority of the phone calls that I get is nobody just saying, hey, how are you doing? Montauk called me the day I had got my phone. I got a new phone in Indianapolis. I forgot. But I got it cut on my birthday. The day after my birthday. Because for some reason, they had to wait a day. I couldn't remember. But as soon as it cut on, she texted me. While she was, I hate to say this, bro, because I'm very optimistic and I speak life. She wasn't dying, she was living. Because she came back through her daughter. Her daughter gave her her first grandbaby after she was gone. And we had the longest conversation on the day I got to Kumse and the Prophet. And literally, bro, when I got back, my phone cut on from Indianapolis. My phone cut on, and the first bing that I get was from Ty Marie. And she said, son, how are you? And I called her, and we had the longest conversation. We talked for hours, we did. And she was, that woman read every article on the No More Seuss page. She read the alarm clock. She brought the alarm clock. She brought Book of Rhymes. She read it. She sent me the picture of letter from mom. She called me. She told me. She said, thank you, son. She said, thank you for reintroducing me to your mother, your heavenly mother. Notice how they never talk about the heavenly mother. They only talk about the heavenly father. She prayed. I want you to take every word that I'm about to say verbatim. She prayed to me. This woman prayed to me. She held my son. She said, she was like, this is when we had that conversation. She texted me, how are you? I called her. And we talked for hours. She was telling me about the line. She was like, I've been there before. She said, go to the laundromat. She said, teach your son how to go to the laundromat. She was like, when I was down, that's what I had to do. She was like, go to the laundromat, because that's going to get you out the house. Find a day out the week to go to the laundromat. That's what she told me verbatim. I'm that north side. That's how I came into Georgetown. Because the surrogate mother, she brought me in. Door always open. But here go the thing. It ain't open for everybody. But it was. Because everybody came through there. Long live the Georgetown twins. They live right next door. This was before I was at No Folk. My Todd took me in. So I was in Georgetown before I was at North. In fact, we used to, they had a magnet bus in the morning, because I remember my bus didn't go to Georgetown, but me and my nephew Trent, because it's so crazy, bro. We rode the bus with Quentin and Trenton, and me and my nephew named Quentin and Trent. So it was like they done cloned Tyrone. Man, bro. And the north side, we some goofies. We some goofies, bro. We goofy, bro. Like, don't fuck up. Don't you slip on no ice, because we gonna roast you. But nah, for real. So that's how I came into Georgetown. Again, the villages of the mothers. That's what Georgetown was surrounded by, the mothers. So my Tata took me in, because she knew my pain. She knew how to explain what I was going through without me having to say it. She knew how to read my body language. You know what I'm saying? So she literally cared. She was my caretaker when I lost my mom. Like, real shit. Maria was my caretaker when I lost my mom. That's big. You don't know me if you don't know Maria. If you really want to know about Quentin, call Maria. She gonna tell you the real story of Quentin. Only Maria, nigga. Only Maria. And these are the women that you have to give credit to, because these is the women that my mother wanted to watch after me after I was gone, after she was gone. Gotta find a way somehow. Nothing's gonna stop me now. Even though you're gone. Even though you're gone. Man, that's crazy. Gotta keep moving on. So yeah, that's what Ty Marie. So, boom, check it. We had that conversation. She's like, I gotta see your son. My son was 2 at the time, getting ready to turn 2. I gotta see your son. I'm like 8 hours away from her, and I ain't have no car at the time. We didn't have no car at the time. I ain't had no phone, no car. But somehow, we still got to Indianapolis. Like, you feel me? We didn't even know we was going up there for the game. We just went up there just to get away from, you know what I'm saying, desolation. So spend my birthday in Indianapolis. That was probably one of my best. That was my best birthday. Off the rip, that was my best birthday. And then Indiana scored 126. It was 178 to 126. Check the receipts. 2022. Gamebridge. So the reason why our hotel is right across the street from Gamebridge. Literally right across the street. So the Marriott across the street from Gamebridge is where I was staying at. And I'm like, dang, that's the stadium. I wonder if they got any games. Looked it up. Oh, they playing Charlotte. Then my daughter, then a year later, I got a daughter. 9 months later, I got a daughter named Charlotte. And we didn't know what we was having until she was born. Until I pulled her out. And I'm like, dang, she look just like I'm like, I'm like, this boy look like my son. That's why I'm like, this boy look like, nah. My mama pulled that cord back and was like, nah, that's that girl. That's the girl you was talking about. Manifested. Destiny. Ain't nothing realer than that, man. My Uncle Chuck said, dang, you a man. He said, you pulled your daughter? I said, yeah. He said, oh, you a man. You know what it is to be a man now. Pulled the afterbirth out. Cleaned the tub. Cleaned the tub. Man. Brought my daughter into the light. Man. But anyway, she was born in a dark setting. A dark room. No lights. My daughter, she was born in a dark room. I brought her to the natural sunlight. The first light that she got was sunlight, son. It was sun. The sun was rising in the east, and it was early in the morning. It was morning time, so I brought her into the light. That Virgin Mary, bro, she fixed. She like an angel. It's like, if it was music, it'd be a violin when she rises. Every time she rises, it's like a violin. Just feeling, oh, my fault. Like this. A violin. That's it. That's it. And probably a heart. And probably a heart. In the heart. Somewhere. Music is always playing. So therefore, when she rising, it's somebody somewhere playing a violin to the tune. Right? That's real shit. So that was my daughter. It was the most amazing thing ever. It was the most amazing thing. It was the biggest that year, just all in all. So with Ty Marie, right, we talking and she's like, I gotta see your son. I said, literally, I ain't got no car. I'm 8 hours away from her, from the trade. You know what I mean? Homeless, like, But I said, well, I mean, you gonna see him. Watch. Three months later, we get there. We get to the trade. We went straight to George. The first place I went to was Georgetown. Cheerside. That's the first place we went. And that was her first time meeting because her and my child's mother were like that. They were tight and they never met, but she was healing her and she was sending her detoxes, right? From her port city that she gave birth to Nasir in. She was sending the herbs to Marie. As soon as she heard that, as soon as she told us that was the first thing. From Charlestown to Georgetown, Slim. She was sending the herbs. So that's my children's mother. And I'm really working on stop living in the carnal, the lower self, because we be going at it but at the same time, I don't have nothing bad to say about her at all. I just really wish that we can be one in all. I really just want us to be one. But that woman is a healer. She's a healer. She's like Claire from the Outlanders. On my mama, that's her. She her. She named ask her daughter. She named her. Alright, bet. So I just want oneness, bro. For real. That's all I want from my child's mother. And we are. Essentially, it's just we going through shit that, it's just us parenting. What you expect? Nigga. We take our frustrations out on each other. That's real shit. We take our frustrations out on each other. Because we the only ones that's doing this real shit. We the only one that changed our children's shit. Outside of their daycare teachers. You feel what I'm saying? But we the ones changing their diapers. We the ones changing they pissy mattresses and shit. We the ones that's, taking off when they get sick. You know what I mean? That's it. It's us. We appreciate all the help. Everybody that got them clothes, everybody that got them, gifts, we appreciate it. Because right before she was born, Darrell, my daughter, right before she was born, this was in the Cherokee Forest we were at. And it was a sister named Ashanti. Man, this was around the same time that what's the joint? That joint that came out? Anyway, the sister name was Ashanti. And by this time, so we seen Tamari, she seen my children's mother, she got to touch the womb. She got to touch her womb. She got to hold my son for the first time. My son was 2 at the time. And we had went through the COVID and everything, and I had been away from the tray. I moved out of the tray fold on March 20th, 2020, to be exact. My son was born 6 days later. And so I've been gone ever since then, right? So that was my first. It wasn't my first time back because I be going back and forth. I'm tired, bro. So I'll be back before, but that was my first time back in a long time, and that was the first time that Ty Marie got to see the only time that she got to see my son and my children's mother, and it was like this mother connection, because see the Aries, that was the Aries and the Virgo. You know what I'm saying? Those are the two jumps those are the two starting points of the zodiac. So in counterclockwise, you start with the Virgin Mary. You feel what I'm saying? And you go in reverse. And then clockwise, you start with Aries and you go clockwise. So Aries to Taurus, my fault. Aries to Taurus to Gemini to Cancer. But with Virgo, you going backwards. So it's like the reverse card on Uno. It's the same difference. So now you starting back. So, you know, if that's the Uno table, the zodiac, and Virgo go first and she pull out the reverse card, now she going from Virgo to Leo. You feel what I'm saying? So those are two starting points of the zodiac, depending on which way you're going. So like, that's why I gotta go to those temples, and then Drea, I think I'm saying that right, where they got it on the wall. They got the reverse zodiac, so that we can study that. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's also being played in cosmology, right? So that was what I seen in real life, and she hugged her and embraced her, and they cried like real tears, both like real tears, like you can't make that shit up. That was some real shit. And I'm saying all of this to make my point that this is the culture that we are getting away from with the internet. Like, really, the internet is like, we became so addicted to that. So we have to really have villages where it's no phones, right? Like, when you enter the village, you drop your phone off at the checkpoint. You feel me? And you put it in a locker. That way you can really heal, because people be healing and be like, in the middle of their healing journey, like, hey, here we healing. But like, during that time, when my daughter was, when she was being born, I was off social media. Like, I got away. Like, I was really like off of everywhere. You know, that year, you know, bringing that year in with no phone, bro, I was tapping into my higher self, and I was eating extremely healthy. Like, man, I was traveling about 40 miles just to get to the nearest fresh market, which, you know, produce market, and just to eat extremely healthy. My health hasn't been up to par lately because of just what I've been going through as a man, and like, I think it's just my body is really urging and craving these different foods that it needs to code and get rid of. So sometimes you would eat it until you get sick, and then once you get sick, then that's kind of like what the vaccines does. Like, they give you the viruses, but I think naturally my body been doing that so that it can purge itself, and I won't have those cravings anymore. I think that's kind of what I'm going through right now. So if you aren't eating as healthy, you may be going through a stage where your body is really just seeing what's for you and what's not. So in that process, you need to be learning about the foods that you can, alternative foods that you can grow. So alternative to me not eating healthy, I know how to grow my own food that I can live off of. I've grown beans, squash, cucumbers, kale, spinach, tomatoes, potatoes, purple sweet potatoes, russet potatoes, the list goes on. Watermelon, melon. I haven't grown quinoa yet, but I'm learning. Where I'm at now is I'm in a ancient indigenous territory region that was known for growing a lot of rice, right? And rice has to grow in marshlands. So I'm along a lot of marshes, and that's how you grow rice. So if push comes to shove, we can get some rice growing. Um, you know, so that right there is a whole salad that you can eat. The base would be the potatoes. You chop the purple sweet potatoes up. You put the quinoa. You can have quinoa and lentils in there with the chopped salad, with the chopped kale and spinach, and then really have like a nice vinaigrette, natural vinaigrette. You can use natural almonds, or cashews to squeeze to make the milk for the base, and then use that milk base and mix it with like a kale, with lemon, so you can have like a lemon tahini type natural dressing that you pour over the salad. And beets, you feel me? Beets, beets restore. I literally seen beets restore. So I'm a healer too. So after my child, I call her Empress because that's her title in real time. Imani, Empress Imani Bay, right? She when she gave birth to Nas, she lost a lot of blood. Still wasn't hospital birth, but we were preparing for these immaculate conceptions. So we perfected it. Like if we were to go do it again, I would, be even more skilled at what needs to be done based off of the last. So what I would fix moving forward, if I could give advice to the next parent, is make sure that you are in a fixed location when you give birth. So if you give birth in the house, make sure that you're in the house for at least 18 months after. You feel me? Because it can mess with the woman's menstrual cycles and shit when you're moving around a lot. So post, you want to make sure you there at least by that third trimester, all the way through 18 months postpartum, right? And then again, what I was just saying about the vegetables and stuff like that, you need to be conscious about the times that you're having birth. So if you conceive in January, that's really good if you got land. You just need enough land, so fathers, you just need you can get a tiny home and just you can have a 1/4 acre of land, and that'll be way more than enough to grow food for the next crop season. And then that way, by the time the baby is born, you can you have a whole harvest. From the potatoes, it takes about 9 months, so that could be really sacred. And y'all could have like a traditional, what do they call that type shit? That could be like a traditional dish that y'all can bring in with the baby, and then those nutrients is going to get into the woman's body and into her milk. Nettle leaf is really good for the women that is lacking in producing milk. You want to get nettle tea, drink nettle tea. This is really my ancestors talking through me. A lot of my videos are the ancestors use me as a vessel to communicate messages to our people, humanity, the human family, the original human family. So yeah, you know, I'm not ashamed of when I'm not eating healthy, because that's letting me know, number one, that like I'm not okay, and I'm okay with saying that I'm not okay. I lost a lot of really close people, like my grandmother. My grandma was like, to me, my grandmother was the like closest person to me. And I trusted her with my life. Like, if I were to go before her, I would, trust it. My everything to her. Everything. Give it to Dottie. So she got to witness both of my children. And so Tamari, she didn't get to see my daughter born. She transitioned about 3 months before my daughter was born, but she got to feel her mama's womb. So you gotta appreciate people like that. And like, again, what I'm telling you now is, about the matriarchy. And I'm an alpha male who honors the matriarchy. You got a lot of alpha male who is still on the, that patriarchal system, which, the man rule the house. Yeah, that's ego, but at the same time, we all know that a woman makes the house a home, and you want a woman that ain't a woman not making that house a home until she can walk around that shit naked. She can't walk around the shit naked if it's like a lot of people there, and you got your homeboys over and y'all having smoke sessions and stuff. She can't walk around that shit, her palace naked. So we got to get to the point, fellas, where these women is walking around their homes naked, butt ass naked, comfortably. You feel me? She want to feel like a woman. These women want to feel like women. So therefore, we have to be the master masons and chief architects that can get. Notice how they say Dozier built the pyramids, but it was really hundreds of thousands of people that was living during the time of Dozier that was employed and contracted in to build the pyramids. But Dozier got the credit because, you feel me? Like, even with Solomon built the temple, but it was really all the men that was loyal to Chief Solomon, the chief priest Solomon, that was like, anything you say, my Lord, just give us the order. You feel me? So it was discipline, but we had to be like Solomon Solomon built his house first. You feel me? So, but it was the women in his house, you feel me, that respected his home, because, you feel me, his wife. So they was employed by her, even though he built it. Once that shit was built, that was her staff. It was Solomon's house, but his empress had the staff. You feel me? So, fellas, we got to get back to that. This is how we bring stability back. And so, we all are monarchs. And, ladies, y'all all are empresses in your own right. So, therefore, like the back of this shirt say, What it say? What it say? Think big on the small level, hey? Think big on the small level. You know what I'm saying? Man. Man, I came up with that in the hood, bro, in East Winston, bro. I was talking to my nephew. I wish I had those videos. I don't know where they at. But me and my nephew, man, we sat. This is daddy hood. You know what I'm saying? I lived in his daddy hood, which is my daddy hood. You feel me? And we was sitting there, uncle to nephew, in our fatherhood, in our father's hood. And we sitting and I'm talking to him. He's like 17 at the time. I'm like 24. And I'm just giving him wisdom. I'm pouring it out on him. And he's like receiving it. And like, this is his brand. Ground up. Apparel. You feel me? And so like, to see where he's at now, like he's been to New York. You feel me? I went to New York because of a club that I was in college. He went to New York because of a club that he was in the street. Economics. You feel me? And so he didn't go to college, but he's still able to travel because he's operating off of the law of success. You feel me? So again, like, it takes a village to raise children. And so, you know, like I said, your clan may not necessarily be your immediate family. You know what I mean? Like, my clan, they not necessarily my immediate family, but we refer to each other as family. You feel me? So that's it. That's just really what we have to get back to, is like, you know, who is your people? Who is the people that, number one, you really enjoy being around and don't mind in your space. Number two, who doesn't mind you being in their space. You feel me? So those are the people that you need to be getting compounds with, right? And building with. And all of the men that's in that's in your clan need to be the ones that's going out and plowing the land because now it'll be, you know, the overflow, the supply overflow. And again, going back to that review, I'm gonna call this the review on the Roots joint. That's what I'm gonna put it. Whatever the name of that joint is, I'm like, my review. This is my 1 hour 30-minute review. But when they was talking about Chris Paul's ancestor getting paid in cotton, I'm like, that's a good deal. They wasn't slaves. They were independent contractors, and then they were getting paid in cotton. I'm like, yeah, pay me in the cotton that I'm picking. Pay me in the cotton, because they said cotton was worth more than the wages in cotton was worth more than the wages in the paper, whatever they were getting paid in. So I'm like, hell yeah, because I'm gonna take it right to the market. I'm like, okay, imagine if they got 2,000 pounds of cotton a month and they took that to the market. Bro, do you know how wealthy they would be? Bro, what? And then y'all sitting up there calling them slaves? I'm like, no, the fuck they... Come on, man. Shout out. That was good facts that was presented, but it was presented in a slighted way. He slighted Chris Paul on the real history. I'm like, bro, if I was interviewing him, I'm like, bro, that'd be dope as hell. I'm like, I've never heard that, number one. You feel me? Like, I've never heard of somebody. No, though we know that was done. Again, tobacco was the currency and things like that. Bro, I taught this at Wake Forest about how to get paid, I'm like, back then they were using tobacco to buy land, so you can use cotton to buy land. This is how our barter system was in America. It's like, okay, you got cotton, we got rice. You need rice for your village because you grow in everything else but rice, and we need the cotton. So you got the cotton, boom. We got the cotton supply. We using that raw material to make shirts, right? So now, once we get the shirts, we can even, yes, that's a great deal. And that's why I was saying, like, I did a video the other day about how maybe what we consider slavery wasn't bad as what we think. Maybe people were signing up to be that shit. If I'm like, for real, if that was the deal, like I get my own land, I have my own parts, like I can grow my own food. That's where the sharecropping shit came from. You share the crops. I'm like, bro, we just pay you a piece of the crops that we grow, and we can have the land and shit. Boom. But see, the problem with that is that with the sharecropping system, there wasn't trust. Like, so my great grandfather, his name was Wilmer Cright, and he was a mulatto because his blended side, they were the first naturalized citizens of the British Crown in Virginia. This was in 17, I forget the date, but they were called Crits, and they came from southwest Germany, and they settled in Patrick County, Virginia. And this is where my grandfather, that's where his line come from, but my grandma Viola's line. So he was a sharecropper, and when he died, my mom Bertha, who was indigenous to the dirt, she was, Big Bertha. I mean, they were living as sharecroppers, and the family was dependent on Elmer, my great grandfather, to, be a sharecropper. And so when he died, he was no longer able to produce. Therefore, my mom Bertha and them had to leave. You feel what I'm saying? And so this is a stacked conversation about how our villages was broke up. The highways, the highways was one. The sharecropping agreements when the fathers died out. Then you had simultaneously the projects was being built for the Scott Irishmen, not for you niggas. The projects wasn't built for us. So, how niggas claiming Piedmont Circle, that's the white man hood. That's the white man hood. They just was trading places with you niggas. So, we wasn't on the plantation, we owned the plantation. You feel me? But, and again, this was another part of it too. You had Negro sellouts. You feel me? So, a lot of, even to this day, we got Negro sellouts. They selling land for pennies on the dollar. They like, look, we just trying to get rid of this shit. We take anything. We ain't never seen no money before, so if you give us $1, we'll take that shit. No, we in debt. That's what happened with the Moors and Spains. They was in debt. So therefore, they was forced to give up the keys. It was like, here. They forfeited the keys. They ain't even get nothing in exchange. And so when they did that, they issued a bench warrant for all the Moors. It wasn't just Bob Deal. He was just the prime Moor that they talked about that gave up the keys, right? But it was a whole bunch of Moors that was that had what y'all call residency
in Spain or Ande de Luz, they had to get their keys up. And if they didn't, they was issuing bench warrants. Feel me? So they pretty much summons everybody to court, and when they didn't show up, they went after them. And so this is why this is what you still see happening today. So we wasn't slaves, we were prisoners of war. And simultaneously in the Gold Coast of Africa, we exhausted all of our gold mines and our natural resources. So the chiefs that were over there was selling our people, and that was what they had left, because they wanted to preserve the gold. So they was like, the people are the gold, the people are the gold, the people are the rubber, the people are the rubber. Let's get rid of the people. And the same people that they sold us to, our people over there to, the same people is the same people that came and colonized they ass and still took their rubber. You feel me? Michelin. You know, rubber is indigenous to the Americas too. So this is what has happened to our people over time. And then again, the people that they were selling the lands to here in America with these treaties in exchange, they were like, well, we're going to educate you, or we're going to give you our education, right? So now we've been called African American, which is wrong, it's improper, because you can have niggas that's from Sicily that's over here, you feel what I'm saying? And then they just say, oh, African American. Just throw them in the bunch. Like, no, that's not them. You feel me? So, they mislabeled us. They mixed our history up. They switched our history for their history. Again, this is why we in the projects now, looking back on slavery, because they was in the projects looking back on their slavery, and they were just trying to escape to freedom, because they were, I mean, this book right here will tell you. This book right here is to tell you Africa's gift to America. And I actually got this a year after I got that Tecumseh book. Yup. This book could tell you. Damn. Shit. It says, whole people with their household goods and cattle were carried away into slavery in ancient times. This is the scene from the monuments of Nevis. So we lost everything because everything was stolen from us. So therefore we had to give our hands. And Proverbs 22 and 26, that's why I say, don't be the ones that pledge your hands as surety. Alright? Don't be one of them ones to pledge your hands as surety. Surely your bed shouldn't be stripped from you for lack of a payment. So yeah, that's what was happening. And again, when those Moors, what they were doing is the same thing you see now with the rats. You know what I'm saying? In all of our hoods, they like, well, I'm not trying to go to jail.
I ain't trying to go into servitude. So, there's some more of them niggas in America. It's a whole bunch of them niggas in America. That's what that was happening. That's how they was able to find where we were at here. Because our own cousins was selling us out. They was like, they right over there. That's what the Chronicles of Narnia was about. It was like, yeah, they right over there. So that's when they was like, when they came over here with that shit, with their doctrines of discoveries and everything. Look at the timeline of the doctrines of discovery. They came over here, we confused the shit out of us. He was like, what the fuck? Nigga, what? You come here on behalf of what? On behalf of who? Nigga, the only chief we acknowledge is Jeff Ford. You feel me? But who you talking about? King George? That ain't Jeff Ford. Come on now. Real shit. Ancient and modern Brits. Gangsta disciple, because I'm from Gordon and Durrell. So still I prevail. Like Judah. Because Judah Khan. From Jordan. Utah. Man. Man, that's real. So you gotta grow and develop. You have to grow the crops and create developments. You feel what I'm saying? That's your natural element as man. Like these men trying to be women. You got real men out here that's just giving up. They killing themselves and becoming women. They killing who they mother birthed them to be and trying to become women. When we need real men to stand up for our women and to create gardens for our women. That's what the mission should, that's the only mission I'm on right now. That's it. Save the babies. That's the only mission I've been on. Is to make sure that the woman is in a sacred spot and putting pressure on anybody that's against that. Applying pressure. You feel me? I'm like, bruh, we need the village culture back. So you gotta know how to man the land. So we need men to man the land, because the mamas will go out there and do it if they have to. You feel me? But then they gonna be exhausted. And then when they exhausted, it throws off the chaotic rhythm in the planet. Cause now they doing, and we, like, the sisters shouldn't have to do all the work. Like, I seen the purest example of it in East Winston in 2019 with Farmer Jeff and Sister Loretta, man. Bro, he was out there working that land, dog. Like, he was a slave for his woman. You feel me? He was like, bro, I don't make no money off it. My wife make all the money. She got the cash crops. Bro, they had, like, he had his whole, if you go through East Winston, he probably still got his farmland. And you ride down Old Greensboro Road, right across from the new Atkins, that's where I'm talking about. That whole farmland right there. Those were my mentors. That was my mentors when I lived in off of OGB. And I would walk there and talk to them for hours and get soak up so much knowledge. You feel me? So we are well into, is it the 7th? But anyway, just know that the 7th of February 2026 is the 100-year anniversary of Negro History Week. They commercialize Black History Month, but they're not even teaching that shit in the schools. It's a joke. You feel me? That shit is a joke. They're not, like, nobody, y'all gossiping about Glorilla. Like, bruh, family, let the family discuss that business privately. Let them handle that shit privately. And for her sister, I'm like, bro, you gotta grow up. You blocking your blessing because you don't know what Glorilla going through. You feel me? She may not be in a position to provide like how you think she should. That girl is only 26, 27 years old. She don't know nothing about providing. You know what I mean? She's trying to figure her life out. You feel me? She glowing out here. Let her glow. Let her glow. Let it happen. Like, you know what I mean? She don't owe y'all nothing. Respectfully, she don't. She don't owe y'all nothing. Y'all can become her equal. It may not be through music, but you still may be gifted in your own way. Cause you come from the same root that she come from. You feel me? Yeah, our people done went through a lot of shit. Let them get through their shit. She creating a better way. She's the best as best as she know how. And Glorilla, you should not feel no pressure. Do your thing, girl. Do your thing. For real. Live your life. Everybody is not gonna be in that position. Everybody can't glow. You feel me? And I'm speaking for some people that you probably ain't know. So yeah, we fucks with you in the Trey Folk Glow. You feel me? Keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? It is what it is, bro. Like, she could do whatever she wants to with her wealth. That's her self-accumulated wealth from her vocals. Her vocals. We never heard nobody like Glow. So let her glow. You know what I mean? That's the Mississippi talking. You feel me? She the sound of the Mississippi. You know? That's the real country music. Hip hop is country music. Feel me? That's the Memphis blues coming out that woman. You feel me? From Memphis to Chattown. We fucks with you, Glow. Over the hills and everywhere. Everywhere. So, I mean, and like families, we gotta stop bringing our family drama to the internet. I'm guilty of the shit. You feel me? But I had to learn. I'm like, bruh, everybody don't need to be in our business because they ain't got no say-so in the shit. You know what I mean? But we are the royal families. You feel me? We are the royal families. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, we need to sit down and have, like, y'all need to talk to y'all great aunts about it. Let the great aunts and the great uncles, you know what I'm saying? Don't leave the patriarchs out. That's not what I'm saying. In the matriarchy, the patriarchs still got a role. That's what I'm telling you. You feel me? While we active, we growing the crops. You feel me? And then the nieces and the nephews, and for me, the great nieces and nephews, they gonna be the ones that go out in the field and get the shit for Big Mama. And she gonna tell you which ones. She was like, all right, now that's a good one, but go see if you can find. And she gonna go out there, and then Farmer Brown will point to the ones, and Big Mama gonna be like, you need to put this, you know, instead of these the natural pesticides to keep the ants off of the joint. You know what I mean? Not the ants, but you know, the pests. So, you know, and then Farmer Brown gonna go out there and show you which ones is ripe and which one is not, you know. And then you take it back into the kitchen, and then the daughters of the houses are gonna come in, and they're gonna be the one that's preparing the meals for everybody. You know what I mean? They're gonna be the one chopping the salad. That's what you see that kava, you see it. You know what I mean? That's how it's gonna be. That's self-sufficiency right there. Across the board, though. I'm saying stand off. Stand off. Stop killing. Nobody deserves to die. I don't care what they did to you, they do not deserve to die. Even the people that murdered, they don't deserve to die. Do you understand what I'm saying? They don't deserve to die. They move in off of impulse. So we need to go back to the statues of William the Conqueror. You feel me? So they need to learn their lesson for sure, without a doubt. But at the same time, it's like we have to just stop killing, period. Once we can stop killing people, then we can start healing people. You feel me? And a lot of people is really just damaged right now. Like two people at war, not because they at war with somebody else, they fighting other people's battles. And like the formula is, if A equals B and B equals C, then C equals A. You feel me? So a lot of y'all are acting as agents and don't even know it when you killing people. So you actually are informants in the worst way. Trading with the enemy at. That's exactly what you're doing. And you the prize. You go out there, you take somebody out, they gonna come right after you. And I can't save you after that. I could tell you how to prevent getting caught up in their system, but once you break the Big Mama code, I just gave it to you. Big Mama say stand off. Stand down. Stand off. That's across the board. So if you go out here and you still do that shit after that, I can't save you, buddy. Hell awaits. That's just real talk. I'm telling you, instead of doing that, take that same energy and go invest in self-knowledge and learn about yourself. Learn about you. Because you really at war with yourself. If you go out here and kill somebody in this, right now, here in North America, then you're going to be held in custody. You're not getting away with it. There's too much surveillance out here. Too much surveillance tapes. You feel me? You really an informant on yourself. For real, for real. And again, they trying to get rid of the alpha male regardless. That's why they are attacking us. Please, fathers, be mindful of what your sons is watching. Even with these basketball games, be careful what they put in. They're putting stuff. They're studying the alpha male, and they're looking at the stuff that we like, football, sports, and they're they're attacking us, right? They're deliberately attacking us, even with the color schemes. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Just pay attention and be aware for the sake of your children, right? And for the men out here that is calling themselves women, get the fuck out the way. And don't put that shit in front of our sons. Y'all can go to hell with that. Y'all could go far. It's probably no planet in the galaxy where that's okay. And I'm going to speak out against it. It's not okay. At all. It's not. Keep that away from our children. And stop making that shit okay, because it's not. That shit is not okay. For real. Again, because it's like you got free will in the planet, but they attacking our free will. So therefore, you have to have discipline. Discipline brings order, and order restores ma'at. All right. So if you born with kahunas, it's for a reason, right? And it's not to be stuffed in no other man. Nope. I got all the kahunas I need right here. I don't need no more. I got all of it right here. That's all I got. I don't need it no more. I don't need no more. Pause. Pause. I don't need no more. All the kahunas I need is the ones that God sent me here with. And that's all I ever had. Straight up. You know what I mean? So I was designed for a woman. I was designed for a woman, and a woman was designed for me. I'm gonna say women. You know, just real shit. And so we need the match in order for this to work. This civilization is we have to restore ma'at, right? So that's the balancing of masculine and feminine energy. And the only way you can be a master is if you work the field. So you got to work the field first before you can become a master. You're not a slave master, you're a master teacher. You feel me? So the garden that I laid out is laid out on the cosmos. All you gotta do is go back and watch the videos, and it ain't went nowhere. But that was me learning, that was me healing, that was me understanding what the assignment was. And it's real simple. It's really simple. It's simply complicated, but if we working, that should be our retirement plan. You can't have a retirement plan without land. How you gonna retire with no land? You feel me? You gonna dry up like a raisin in the sun. You feel me? So yeah, that's what we need right now. It needs to be a standoff. Men need to stop trying to act like women and be women, thinking that they women. It ain't. That shit. No. We gotta stop that. And I'm emphasizing that because I see how society is just okay with that. You feel me? Go in your own corner with it. For real. Because it's really fucking up the algorithm of the planet. So an algorithm is rhythm. So it's really throwing off and distorting the rhythm of the planet. And it's causing a lot of chaotic shit. So we gotta stop killing each other. We gotta stop being who we not. And some of y'all is too far gone. But for y'all that's too far gone, stay in y'all own corner. Keep that shit away from our sons. For real. Keep that shit away from our sons. And I'm a son. For real. Do that shit in your own private capacity. Real talk. And the same thing for the women. Y'all gotta be held accountable too. Y'all are here to be women. We need y'all to be women, God, for Christ's sake. We need y'all to be women. Even the ugly women. You still beautiful on the inside. Yo, you feel me? You still beautiful. You still love. You know what I mean? A lot of women turn into dykes because they feel like they wouldn't be accepted as women by men. So we love y'all too. Like the Brittany Griner girl, she's beautiful. She is really beautiful. She got very beautiful features. And I just feel like she told you in that docu series that she was picked on. That's why I'm like, I wish I would have did that interview, because I would have said what I'm like, girl, you beautiful. You feel me? Like, you really just need to tap into your divine feminine more. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of women out here that just need an alpha male to tell them that. Like, for real, like, you gorgeous. Tap into that. Let the women be women. Let the women who think they men be women. You feel me? Straight up. So, and for those who are bringing babies into this world, be mindful of what your children is watching. Be mindful of what your children consume, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Guard them, be around them, be in their life, build for them, create a better tomorrow for them today, so that they can appreciate our yesterdays. You know what I mean? The sacrifices that our ancestors made for us, you make for them, right? And in exchange, they're gonna do that when, you know, God willing, that they can have children, or would they have children? But it's all a faith system, you know, the fountain of youth. You feel me? So, you know, read, know your history, travel, go to museums. I'm taking my children to 2 museums tomorrow to honor Negro History Week, and Carter G. Woodson. Shout out to Carter G. Woodson. Hopefully we can stumble across some knowledge on Carter G tomorrow. That'll really make my whole day at the museums that I take them to. They need us, you know, as alpha males, like, for real. Again, if you far left on that shit, stay where you at. I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking to the brothers who be contemplating, like, before you contemplated. I'm talking to you. You feel me? And you gotta know that you are loved too, as for who you are as a man, as a man that God, that Allah has assigned you to be on this planet. You are loved, right? And so, you know, I can't speak for why guys go left. I can't speak for that. Real talk. I don't want no man looking at me in that type of way. Straight up. I don't want that, and I don't want to attract that, and I'm not attracted to that. So I can't speak for the men that is, but at the same time, it's like women need us men, and it's like, it's kind of like at war. Like, you ain't have a choice. Like, when the way we used to fight, everybody in the village, every young son, they ain't had no choice. You feel me? You give them a bow and arrow and a rifle. Boom. Y'all, you're fighting for the village today. You feel me? That's how it used to be. And that's what we need. It shouldn't be no choice moving forward. You know what I mean? Again, like, yeah, we got free will, but there needs to be discipline. That's what nationhood is built on. You see China, they don't fool with that crap. There's a whole bunch of countries out there that, you know, they don't play that crap. Russia, they don't play that crap. They don't play that shit. You feel me? So, and like, being a man is more than just being tough. You feel me? Being a man is knowing when to be soft and how to be soft and who to be soft with. Being a man is teaching your children their history. Right? I had them saying the names. Right? We were reading 100 Amazing Facts about the Negro. And I had them, like, for the people's names that we reading about, I had them say it. I got it recorded on my phone. It's beautiful. You know, give these kids experiences that they never had. That's what being a man is about. You feel me? So, and again, I'm not nobody to judge. However, like I said, my ancestors be talking through me. They be talking through me. So I'm just relaying the message, you know. So we got a very rich history. We got a lot of stuff that we need to heal from. That, you know, I think that, like, what's happened, the damages that's happened to our people is at an end cycle. It was more than just involuntary servitude, you know, us becoming prisoners of war. That's just a fraction of the whole pie, you know, from the genocide, the murders, the rewriting of our history, the misclassification of our true identities, the propaganda from the school systems, the diseases that was brought into our territories, the sicknesses and the deaths, right? Because deaths has an impact on the full family. Like, when, you know, my mom, that had an impact on me. So it's like, you know, include me in that number. Those impacted, like, you know, the selling of our estates, us moving into these projects that wasn't built for us. So these were foreign concentration camps. That's why the Reverend Martin Saint Michael, which is really Saint Martin is Saint Michael. So what he told us was that we was refugees on our own land, right? In our own land. And he told us that he was sending us into a burning house unknowingly. So, you know, how they like, I mean, bro, it's real. Like, for real. And he's Irish. You feel me? So, yeah, we gotta heal from, there's a lot we gotta heal from, man. And, like, I got love for humanity. You feel me? So the stuff that I'm speaking out on here is for the love of humanity, right? Because when you have two males, period, together, that's a dead end. You can't produce more life from that. There's no way that a child is going to be born from two men. Same thing with the women. Now, the woman has the potential to produce a baby by herself and have an immaculate conception. But, That's rare. It may be happening now. We just don't hear about it. But there was a time that this planet was populated by only women. Not only men, only women. You feel what I'm saying? But at the same time, and these women, how they say they don't need us, it's crazy. You'd be surprised. You feel me? And that's why I be in my feelings, because I'm like, dang, I need you to need me, baby. But nah, it's not. That's my ego. At the same time, these women would you still have to play your part, and we still play a huge part in a woman's life, just with our dedication to our children. That's all these women need, is us to be dedicated to the children, because again, they out here, raising these babies on their own, and that shit not fair to the woman. So men, you have to step up. Society, they would tell you to leave that woman alone, let her, if she want to be on her own, let her be, but no. And for Christ's sake, this goes for the mothers and the fathers. Please stop going to these family courts, because they not your family. How you gonna have family court and there's nobody in your family there? This is why in the Carolina Constitution from 1670, March 1st, the first paragraph says to avoid democracies. And y'all just giving up y'all birthright by, again, it's just like, it's no different from somebody killing their own. That's exactly what you're doing. You're giving them a reason to rob our estate. So, again, from the origin of the beginning of this conversation, I'm going to loop it back to the end. We had parliaments in our community, and we would go to Big Mama. We would go to the council, like how the council read and reviewed my book. Let them make the decision. If man and women, or I'm going to say this, if mother and father cannot come up to a decision and it's like tied, then you need to go sit with the grand council in your community, in your neighborhood, and in your family, right? And you need to talk with them. You need to talk to the great aunts and uncles that's still living and hear what they got to say. Let them voice their opinion, because they got the most wisdom. It's crazy. I'm a great uncle, but my great aunt, she's probably about 70, 80. I hate to ask her age, but she's there, and she got a lot of wisdom, and she's really smart. You feel me? And I can go to her if I need to. You know what I mean? I on my mama, I go to her before I go to the police. I go to her before I go to the DA. You know what I mean? Or to the county clerk. I go to her first, and that's what we need. These are prevention. In corporate America, I was in internal audit when I first started out. You can get my book, The Alarm Clock. I talk about it in more depth. But I was in the internal audit department, and what I learned about was how to mitigate risks, okay? And that is a mitigated function, is parliament. So you talk to your parliament, and then you go around the board and you hear what they all got to say. That's kinsmanship before you make your decision. You feel me? And the same thing goes with the mother. And then if the majority say, the man, you need to get out there and work and get you a job and, bring in this amount of money and pay her this amount of money, then you got to do it. You can't argue that. But you don't need to go to no court for that. You just gotta be a man. Just like how I'm telling you to be a man and stand down. You feel me? It's literally gonna be somebody watching this right now that's about to run and go. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. They planning it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, I'm saving your life, son. That's come from a higher authority. Stand down. It's come from a higher power. Stand down. Stand down. We in a reset. We are at a reset. The Declaration of Independence was 250 years ago, and you right now is living it. So it's a reset that's going on. And the Declaration of Independence, it says that governments are instituted amongst men, and that when one form of government become corrupt to its end, it is the right of the people to abolish it, reconstruct, and start a new form of government. That is, I'm quoting it just for the simple fact that it's right here. Dang, I gotta get this one. Where my Constitution book? Why is that hard? Man, I got it. I got it. Where is it? Where's my Constitution? I don't even know. I don't even know, but I got backup. I got backup. I want the Declaration of Independence. I just had my Constitution book. But I got kids that be running around this. They was going through throwing my books like, these kids, bro. That's why I'm like, it take a village. It take a village and it take a lot of patience. And I was saying like, man, what's gonna be the reward for me raising these children? You know what I'm saying? All these global war on terrorism. Is the Declaration of Independence in here? Man, that's crazy. It says, I declare from this day forth that my world revolves around the joy of my offspring. Salam, salam. The 5th of November. Man. On 13/22, I got it scribed in here when I got this one. So that was before. That was 13 days before. Man, this one explained the Constitution. It says this. I'm gonna read this. It says to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes. This is I want to say this is Article. This explaining the Constitution. This Article 6. I mean Article 1, Section 8. Yeah, Article 1, Section 8. It's explaining it. Under the Articles of Confederation, states were prone to impose import duties on products from other states, or to make conflicting claims to authority over shared waterways. One of the main goals of the Constitution was to further the creation of a truly national economy, less burdened by such destructive competition among the states, but over time empowered to regulate commerce among the several states, was involved not only to restrict actions by the states, but as a basis for significant expansion of federal authority over numerous areas of life, including laws to regulate working hours and conditions, and to protect the environment, to provide health and safety standards, as well as consumer protections, and to build interstate highways. New national healthcare law rests partly upon the power as well. The courts have frequently been asked to determine whether the Commerce Clause justified the exertion of federal authority. Since the late 1930s, the Supreme Court revised to when the Supreme Court reversed, remember that word reverse? Courts to approve various elements of the Franklin Delano Roosevelt New Deal. They have tended to support a broad reading of the clause, but in recent conservatives on the court have attempted to place limits on the power the federal government can claim through its use to establish post office and post roads. Man, the Constitution go hard, like real shit. That's why I say it was adopted. It was adopted from us. Let me see. Of course, they got it written in purest form in here. I'm looking for the Declaration of Independence, though. Oh. I can come here, I think. I believe I can come here. Because the Declaration of Independence was 250 years ago. This is the Constitution. But I need the Declaration of Independence, bro. Let me find this shit. Oh, it's right here. Damn, I did all of that. I'm gonna stack books on top of books just to find this. Damn, I'm looking for the Declaration of Independence. And it's right here. Dang, bro. Just put that on the scale. Let me see. Bet. So, oh, damn. Whew. Dang, that was a workout. Knowledge is sports, Lord. This is the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. It says, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind required that they should declare the causes which impelled them to the separation. This is what we see played out with Glow. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal. So if Glow getting it, then bro can get, you feel me? And that they are endowed. And see, the thing is, so she dyking, but she was a pretty girl. You feel what I'm saying? That's what I'm like. A lot of these women, they just not loved properly. And she telling you that. That's all she's saying. She just need a hug. She just need a hug and some... Let me finish reading this. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, stand down, life, liberty, Liberia, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted amongst men, and I'm going to say and women, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. That's consent of you, the people, the you are the governed. That whenever any form of government, right, becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles, which it says the principles of the law of nature, right? And organizing its power in such a form as to seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness, okay? Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not change for light and transient causes. According to the all experience have shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable than the right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. That's what's happening right now. We seeing it played out in front of our face. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the object evinces a design to reduce them under the absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. For the future security. Such had been patient sufferance of these colonies, and is such now the necessity of the constraints to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having direct object to the establishment of absolute tyranny over the states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused to assent. So the same thing that they were accusing King George for is the same thing that they in exchange have been doing to us for the last 250 years. Because they have not been honoring this. And I had a senator tell me that they don't go by the Constitution. They refuse to assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good, forbidding the governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend them, refused to pass other laws of accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people will relinquish the rights of representation and legislature, a right invincible. Right here, it says for quartering large bodies of armed troops amongst us, for protecting them by mock trial punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off trade with all parts of the world, and for imposing taxes without our consent. So, for depriving, in many cases, the benefit of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretended offenses. This is how they got here. This is why they got here. They were the ones that were prisoners, and he said. So they the ones that was transported here. Say it right here. For abolishing the free system of English law in a neighboring province, therefore establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it as once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute to the colonies, etc. I'm just reading through this. It says, we therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assemble, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude for our intentions, due in nature and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that the United Colonies are and the right of be free and independent states, and that they are absolved from any allegiance to the British Crown, which was your crown, and that they, all the political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is off, and to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent, this is where you get that free will from. States, they will have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may have the right to do. And for the support of this declaration, with a reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. So if they could do it, that means that you could do it. I got to take this with me tomorrow, because where we going, just give a context clue. Where we're going was where it was representatives, where they ratified it at. So what signed it at. So like I said, this is becoming the end of that. So it literally gave you the order. It wasn't even for you. It's the principles. Because you wasn't a part of the colony. You was a part of the nation where the colony was. Let's look up the definition of colony. I have to do this over and over and over again. Colony. Look up the definition. Y'all just be like, oh, the colonizer. That don't even make sense. There's no nation called colony. You heard me? Color of law. The United Colonies. Because they ain't have no nation. Let me see. Colony. A dependent political community consisting of a number of citizens of the same country who have immigrated therefrom to people another, therefrom to people another, and remain subject to the mother country. Territory attached to another nation known as the mother country with political and economic ties. Possessions of dependency of the British Crown. 13 original colonies, United States. So that's kind of like a proxy state, right? So we govern in this state from proxy. So, that's literally what we just read about. That's why they declared independence. Because they like, well, we over here now. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all sent us over here. That's what this joint talking about. They said, they was like, Benjamin Franklin wanted to send boxes of snakes back for all of the Scott Irish that they were dumping in America. All of the prisoners. They were prisoners that they were sending over here. You feel me? So what was it for them to take your shit? Nothing, nigga. What was it for them to take your life? Nothing, nigga. So that's why I'm telling y'all. Stand down. Stand down. You're going to be glad you did it. In 10 years, you're going to be glad you're going to be a free man. And you're going to be glad that you heard this. And you're going to be glad that you honored it. So stand down. Stand down. Stand down. Tell your lords, stand down. Tell your OG to stand down. It's a stand down. Just trust me. Trust me when I tell you that. Because if you're not honoring that code, there's going to be something that you just don't want to sit with. And it's not jail. It's way worse than that. It's way worse than what you presume. You get the rest in death. You feel what I'm saying? You get boom, you good. You resting for shit. I'm trying to find rest now. But that don't mean I want to die. I'm just saying. But like when you dead, you resting. Now you may be doing work on another dimension, but here on Earth, your work here is done. You know what I'm saying? But for the ones that is getting ready, that's considering it, I don't know why I'm telling you this. I'm just saying, stand off. Just stand off. No, nobody deserves to die. Nobody deserves to die. For real. Nobody deserves to die. So, even the guy that killed my great grandfather, he didn't even get locked up. He lived less than a mile away from my grandfather. So my grandfather had to live amongst the person that killed his father, and he went his whole life. You feel me? And I'm not necessarily on no peace. There's not no peace. I'm just telling you that it's this reset that's happening right now. It's a reset. That's too many people. We done lost way too many people. You know, the Palestinians alone, the death toll of the Palestinians alone, they are part of the human family. So there needs to be a standoff. That comes from the highest power. So if the state of Israel, the political state of Israel is getting their orders from the United States, this coming from a higher order. Do you understand? That's coming from a higher order. So stand off right now. Feel me? Like real talk. Just stand off. We gotta reset. Like how we did during COVID. That's what we need to get back to. During COVID, when we was locked in, everybody was locked in. You feel me? And all the essential workers was the only one that had to go out. That's what needs to be going on right now. There was a shift that happened that, that was a shift that happened. They was preparing us. That was what that was all about. And some of us passed and some of us failed the test. That's it. You feel me? But we need to do that. We need to get back in the houses and start mapping out plans on how we gonna get land, and utilize the land, because the earth needs us to massage her by cultivating the soil. All right, so that's what's going on right now. And as far as the water supply, the water is gonna come from the fruits. Your water supply is gonna come from your fruits. All right, and the fruit of the land, the FOL, the fruit of the land. All right, and I'm speaking in codes. Is gonna come from the law, nature's law. So that's the only water that you need to be consuming. And if you can't get to the natural reservoirs, then you need to come to North Carolina. Come to Carolina Norte. And you need to sit with our chief. Seriously. That's real talk. So yeah, everything, the planet is being restored, and it's definitely saying stand off of God's children. It's
Stop taking God's kids. Stop taking God's kids. Stop it. Stop. That's played out. It's showing a weakness. If you gotta take out another person, that's showing that you weak. You feel me? Because we supposed to fight. If y'all gotta fight it out, fight. Fucking fight. Fucking fight it out. Fight it out if you got to. Grapple it out. Play your chess game. Play chess with your opponent. Better, man. Come on. Play chess. Play life chess. You feel me? So you can still get them checks, mate. Alright. On that note, dang, it's a long video, but I'm gonna upload it. Happy Black History Month. It's Negro History Week. Alright? This is Negro History Week. Negro History Week was started February 7th, 1926. 100 years ago, man. So I just gave you damn near 3 hours of facts, bro. 3 hours of facts, right? So restore the villages, restore the parliament. That's the parlay. You feel me? Restore your parlay, right? Long live neighborhood nip. Just like that, we out.